were able to open it. The problem was to keep it open.
There are people that are going through these portals.
Was this energy weapon was opening a portal?
Absolutely, it was opening a portal. When this strange wave pattern appeared on their scopes, they knew that they'd opened a portal.
Welcome, gentlemen. Today, we're going to be talking about portals and time. So we're going to get a U.S. perspective from you, Rick, and from you, Tim, of course, a German perspective. So, Rick, you've seen so many documents about this type of subject. What could you start off with?
Well, during my counterintelligence career, I was assigned to Area 51, and one of the operations that I perfected a counterintelligence operation for was an operation or a project that was run by the national laboratories in investigating how to time travel, whether it was feasible, different methods and different procedures that could be developed to move from one area of time to another area of time. And so I actually developed the counterintelligence operation based on the project. Most of the time when we get these projects in that we had to do a counterintelligence operation for, you just read a summary, the objectives, but not everything. I was so fascinated by time travel that I read the entire document, even the scientific portions of it. So what we were trying to do, what the United States government was trying to do, is open a portal or a tunnel in the fabric of space in order to travel. And I'm not disclosing anything that's classified anymore. Most of this has already been written about. Theories have been they taught it in a college class at one time. But what they were trying to do is perfect procedures. They used high energy lasers. They've used magnetisms, high energy, large magnets to shoot lasers and other things through a portal or create a portal, open up the time, and then try to figure out how to keep it open. And they were using different sheaths to put in there to try to keep it open. They were trying to then maintain it with gases. They used, I know, argon gas and a number of other different types of gases they would send through these portals. And it actually worked. They were able to open it. The problem was to keep it open and to prevent any damage or injuries to anything that went through there. And they were using cockroaches to put through there. They were using mice and rats and I believe some other animals. But nothing, they couldn't perfect it at that time. But later on, they developed different techniques and different methods that were able to do that.
What year was this?
This was in the 1980s, early to mid-1980s. The project actually started back in the 60s. I believe San Diego National Laboratories started the project, and it was in the elementary stages back then. Scientists were able to document on paper how to do this. But then when they were trying to perfect it in reality, so to speak, they ran into all sorts of different obstacles, weather, atmosphere, all sorts of things that were preventing the time portal to open.
When I was there in the early 90s and was part of that project, they also were using special alignments. They found out that they had the Earth and the different types of space alignments, because there's ley lines also in space, and they still did not perfect it at all, where they could do it. So how about you, Tim? What have you heard and what have you experienced and read about?
We know that Germany was probably the first nation in modern history that, you know, had experiments on time travel. Everyone knows that the theoretical physics that time can be approachable dimension, that is something Germans came up with in the 1920s, 30s. They did experiments on that, I think about the 1940s. Their approach was to use high voltage in order to melt down the fabric of space, which can be used in order to, you know, move temporal dynamics, but it's absolutely not stable. and it would also be pretty toxic for everyone who stands around that kind of field. So I'm pretty sure that they did not succeed in any way at that time, the 1940s, to make it stable. What Richards was talking about, people have used that, the same mechanics, allegedly, way back in the ancient times, where we find all those ancient sites that were indeed aligned to the different lines and star constellations, and they used the natural occurring energies in order to open certain gates. So you were talking about the 70s, 80s, I guess, and you were talking about the 90s. I guess it was about the 2010-ish years where the Greys decided to give at least a certain group of people on Earth the ability to have a stable and functioning technology. I'm pretty sure that that is, highly classified in terms of not everyone having access to that. So I think that the Greys took that pretty seriously and made access to only a very certain amount of people or a group of people, and they exist. So there are people that are going through these portals, and they are also in a future version encapsulated in time of the Earth. And their mission is to have a look on how Earth is developing. And as far as I know, they are active in this time right now, even present.
Now, are these portals also in space, not just Earth?
So one thing I'd like to add is that temporal dynamics is capable of being weaponized. So one can build a very highly efficient weapon using temporal dynamics. And I think that is the reason why Grace decided to give it only to a very specific group of people.
Rick, could you add to that?
Well, one of the things that was developed during the experiments in time travel out at the Nevada test site in Area 51 was a peripheral part of the time travel projects. They found that they could develop a energy weapon, a high energy weapon system. It wasn't the objective, but while they were experimenting over these years, they realized that there were some things that they could do to take advantage of these portals. They were in a process of developing, when I left, an energy weapon.
Was that a side effect? Was this energy weapon was opening a portal?
Absolutely, it was opening a portal. And so when I left, they were trying to perfect it. And I think probably over the years, they might have done that. When I worked for a private laboratory in Texas, we were able to look at some of the things that DARPA was doing in that area of perfecting this type of energy weapon.
Rick, they're experimenting with opening a portal. How do they know what's on the other side?
Well, one of the objective was to determine exactly that and how they would measure it, or how would they would see into it. So they had subcontractors working on that too. And so they developed some techniques and some equipment, which probably are still classified. I don't want to go into that part of it. But they had actually equipment, something similar to an oscilloscope that was projecting. They could determine wave patterns, the normal Earth wave patterns. And when they opened the fabric, there was a strange wave pattern detected that we couldn't duplicate anywhere else but looking into that portal. So when this strange wave pattern appeared on their scopes, they knew that they'd opened a portal. Now, the problem was, in the early stages, they didn't know where that was going. Was that going back in time, or was that going forward in time? Now, eventually, they took this to another location in a mountain in California, and they duplicated, and they realized that the wave patterns there were different than the wave patterns in the desert of Nevada, at the Nevada test site, which was the main location that they were testing this. So now they figured, wait a minute, why is the wave pattern different there in California than what we had? And bingo, they figured, that's going one way because of the altitude or the area of that where they're doing it in. And in Nevada, it was going someplace else. And when I left, and even when I worked for the private laboratory, this was being developed rapidly.
What do you think, Tim?
Yeah, so we all know that dimensions are units or a way to measure the location of something inside of space. So if we have 3 dimensions, we can, by using a triangular method, we have a way to figure out where in space something is located. So every particle in physics has a specific location, a specific position where it is. It's the same with temporal dynamics, as using time and temporal factors as another dimension. The problematic and confusing thing is the geometric way how to see temporal dynamics. Because every particle inside of a 4th dimension of temporal dynamics is also located to different other positions inside of this temporal dimension.
If you enjoyed this, make sure to watch the next video on Awaken Zone. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell, but you won't want to miss what's coming next.